Hello, hello. Welcome to I'm My Business podcast with Auntie E.
And Auntie K.
Ah, we are back. We didn't record last week. It's fine. We're here.
Honestly, we're the most reliable, unreliable people. So just deal with it.
You'll get your content. Don't worry.
Just deal with
When,
it.
but you'll get it. You'll get it. That's
You'll
what
get it.
matters.
For those of you guys that like to watch us, because some people really like watching,
Yeah.
like watching us record this podcast. In the description box, you guys can follow us or subscribe, excuse me, to our YouTube channel, because this is also a visual. You can see us recording. So
Mhm.
when I'm saying crazy shit, you can see my face, or when Auntie E is in awe, like she's about to be, you can see her face.
And I'm very expressive. My facial expressions get
Don't
me in
lie.
trouble regularly. I cannot control my
Yeah,
emotions coming across my face.
this
Um,
is true.
let's hear it. What's happening?
Okay, so normally before the podcast, we'll bump our gums. We'll be like, let's talk about this, let's talk about that. Obviously, we let it flow organically, but we give little splurts about what we want to talk about. We don't get in depth. We get in depth on the podcast. But I literally 30 minutes ago, no, not even, maybe 45 minutes ago, was like, Auntie E, as soon as you send the link, press record, because I want them to see your face. So here we are.
Here we are. We're
Here
about
we
to
are.
get some information. I'm so excited.
So you asked me, you were like, how's your day? I'm like, oh, it's okay. Today, unintentionally got triggered about the single life. My friend sent me this post with great intentions, and I totally understand her intentions. And I got the essence of the post, and it's basically talking about, how single people, how basically we're shit on by the whole world, but we're expected to just keep fucking it up as if we're not getting shitted on. And it put a lot of stuff into perspective, but it also fucking triggered the shit out of me. And I'm like, what the fuck? It reminded me of all of the lonely ass shit that I do. And it was triggering. So I was hella sad, girl, I was crying on and off, and I was just like, what the fuck? And I was like, you know what? Fuck everybody. So then I got pissed off because I had to go cut this pineapple. And I was like, no, we're going to turn this day around. We're going to fucking turn this day around. Bitch, we're day drinking out of a fucking pineapple cup today. During this podcast, I made a little concoction. We got some vodka, strawberries, some Saint Germain. I'm going to top it off with a little bit of cider for some bubbles. I do have to put it back in this bowl because I kind of slid it. It leaks a little bit. I put water in there to make sure. But it is okay to be single, and it's okay to be sad to be single.
Yeah, absolutely.
We're people too.
Man, don't invalidate someone just because they're not in a relationship. Being in a relationship isn't the end all
I was
be all.
really sad. This hoe is strong. I was really sad. This bitch is strong. I don't think I'll be working out today.
I mean, maybe a little half drunken skate sesh.
Half drunken jazzercise.
Just go fuck it up on this.
But that's why we had to record immediately, because I wanted this in my body and I wanted to show you. And I just wanted I even decorated it, y'all.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Y'all need to come and look, because if y'all are just listening, go to our YouTube, I'm Mind My Business podcast, or click the link, that's somewhere linked somewhere. I'm sure it is.
But my aunt, clutch as hell, she was like, I was about to be mad because I was like, this pineapple is nice and juicy, and I really don't feel like cutting it because I'm sad, but I really want some pineapple. And she was like, I have a pineapple core thing. And I was like, what? She was like, yeah, you just put it in there and you twist. And I was like, you gotta twist hard. And she was like, no.
You gotta twist hard?
She was like, just be careful, don't cut your finger. And I was like, all right, bet, show me that, bitch. And then I did it. And the first one that I cut wasn't centered, so it sliced it in the side. And I was like, I'm having a ball today. I was like, I'm gonna cut this other pineapple. Let's go. And then I was like, let me decorate it. Like I need to self-care. It's
Yeah.
okay to be single, bitches.
Yeah, it
And
is.
it's okay to be sad about being single.
Yeah.
That's a long story short. That's all I wanted to really say before we got our lives together.
That is amazing. I'm so happy you turned your shit around. Yeah, man, like you are that bitch. Definitely. And your little pineapple mug concoction thing, I'm a little bit jealous. I want
It's so
one.
good.
I don't even like alcohol that much, but like I want.
Girl, these pineapples were on sale at HEB for 77 cents. I got like 6.
Yay.
I literally got 6 pineapples, and I was gonna take one to Willie because like old Spanish grandmothers, I love you to bring them. You don't bring old Spanish grandmas like regular grandma shit. Like old Spanish grandmas, to my knowledge, and the Spanish grandmas that I fuck with, they give them some fruit. Give them a basket of fucking cilantro and onions and tomatoes. So like I was gonna bring her 2 of the pineapples. That's why I got 6. Cause she would have went the fuck off. She would have been like, ay, que lindo. And she would have loved me that much more. Right. But then I forgot. I was like, oh fuck, they're going, like they were going on a trip. So now I got all these fucking pineapples.
So now we got all these fucking pineapples. Well,
It's the thought.
I mean, you're gonna have a bunch of little pineapple cups.
Oh girl, they said if you put this in the freezer, you can use it up to twice. And I was like, don't you worry about it. I'm gonna make another one tomorrow.
Don't you worry about it.
Don't you fucking worry about it. Like, I got it.
I think that's amazing. Oh my gosh, yesterday my allergies were so bad. Oh gosh.
I had to step off camera really quick. I had to get something that I wanted to talk about. Yeah. How is it the rain in San Ann?
It is so right now it's not raining today, but forecast all week. I'm definitely feeling it. FM life. When there's like changes in the weather like that, I feel it in my body. Yeah, so today I almost was like, maybe you should reschedule the podcast, but I was like, no, bitch, I love recording our podcast. So I was like, just smoke some of that CBD.
Oh god.
That's what I did. That's what I did. Yeah, so
it's been raining like crazy here. We're getting flooded, but luckily we're not flooding too bad because during the day it won't rain, but then at night. Okay, first, there's 2 things that just popped in my head, and I need to say both of them. First, if you're comfortable, I want to touch a little bit on why we rescheduled for Tuesday. Because I think it's important. It's things that we don't talk about, that we don't use our platforms necessarily to talk about. And I feel like we need to normalize it more. And like, I almost threw my phone at you all the way from Houston when you were like, I'm so sorry. And I'm like, bitch, why are you apologizing? So I want to talk about that. First. This is y'all know my mind. And then second, I have this whole conspiracy thing that I thought up about thunderstorms.
Ooh, I'm so excited. Okay, so the reason we rescheduled, I was not having a great mental health day. I don't remember the details, but my day did get turned around. It ended up taking a completely different turn than it was a wild ride. I was on some Delta 8. I had some gummies. And then like my day turned around, but like I was like, I'm doing me today. And so I watched like a bunch of Studio Ghibli films. Is that what it's called? Ghibli? What did I watch? Spirited Away. I watched a couple others I can't recall off the top. I don't remember things. That's what it comes down to. But I turn it around. I watch these movies. I'm not a huge like movie or TV watcher
You're
in
really
general.
not.
I'm really not. So I just basically like I took care of myself. I had good food. I stayed hydrated. I watched movies that made me happy. And yeah, I just I didn't want to stay in that like anxious, depressed like rut that I was in that morning when I was like, oh gosh, I just can't. And even like sending you the text saying, "Hey, can we reschedule?" I'm not having a good mental health day was like pretty difficult for me to do. But I am trying to be a lot more open regarding my mental health. The best way to do that is to talk about it, to like end the stigma. And it's so interesting that you said that we don't use our platform enough for that, because I was thinking the exact same thing. But that's as far as it got. It's like I should be using these platforms to talk about these things that a lot of people go through, but it's still so stigmatized. But I'm not.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So
And for me, because everybody has those days, whether you're diagnosed with a mental health disorder or whatever the case may be, everybody has those days where mentally we just can't do it. And for me, and this is just me, again, we don't judge for anybody's opinions, we have our own whatever, but for me, I feel like my time isn't respected if somebody's just like, oh, I have to reschedule. Not saying that I need them to tell me why they're rescheduling to validate it in my head, but if somebody's just like, I need to reschedule, I'm like, all right. But if somebody's like, look, bitch, I need to reschedule, I'm not having, like, today's just not the day, I'm having a mental health day or whatever, I'm like, all right, bet, like, fucking do you. And then you were like, and then like, it's the apology. Like, we feel like it's not okay to simply say, I can't do it. It doesn't matter if you go to Six Flags or go and frolic at the mall. Mentally, you could not do the task that you had intended to do.
Mhm.
And we need to normalize that.
Yep.
Bitch, mentally, I can't fucking do this shit today. I need to go and fucking ride my bike with my friends, whatever the fucking case may be.
Yeah.
And don't be sorry for it. That's why I sent that text. Like, girl, like, stop. Like, why are you apologizing to try to get your mental health in check and set those boundaries with yourself and with other people? Whether it's your friend, somebody that you love talking with and bumping your gums with, family member, whatever. But like, setting those boundaries, and being like, today is not the day. And you don't have to, like, that's just me. Like, you know how I am. I'm like, well, all right, you rescheduled, whatever. Like, that's me. I understand. Like, I don't need validation. But some people are like, well, why the fuck did you reschedule?
Ooh.
What's going
Because I
on?
did.
Talk to me, right?
Let someone come at me like that, boy.
But it's something that I like, we need to begin to or continue to normalize.
Mhm.
Today, I can't do it. And that's okay. And we shouldn't be sorry for it. It's natural for us to be like, my bad. Like you did, but like, we shouldn't apologize for wanting to take those days to secure our mentality.
Right. It's
And
about setting
reset.
healthy boundaries, right? Healthy boundaries, which is something I've definitely struggled with in the past and something that I'm working on for sure. Um, Boundaries are important. Healthy boundaries are important. Invalidating someone's boundaries, that's not,
Mm-hmm.
that is not, that's, that's not a good time for anyone. That shows your character and how much you like you're basically saying you don't care about someone if you're like not what am I saying? If you're not respecting their boundaries,
Mm-hmm.
you're you're saying what I care is what matters. You're being selfish. Bro.
That's where it's like, okay. And that's why I said that at first. I'm like looking back into what I said, but I think I said when I first made that statement, but I was just like generalizing it from an outsider perspective.
Mhm.
But if we're not setting those boundaries and we're not allowing ourselves to withhold other people's boundaries and respect their boundaries, what the fuck makes you think that they should respect yours?
Bro, honestly. Respect.
That's what I'm like, all right, whatever, you can't. That's cool.
A lot of people don't understand that. Like, I will respect you, but you are going to give me the same respect back. Otherwise, we're done. Respect boundaries. Thank you for respecting my boundaries.
No, thank you for setting them.
Mm-hmm.
And that's something like we have to start, like, thank you for setting them, and thank you for being vulnerable and telling, like, instead of just being like, I gotta reschedule, but like, either way I would have been fine with it, but thank you for being vulnerable and saying, like, mentally I can't.
Yeah,
I appreciate that, and we need to normalize it.
absolutely, I agree wholeheartely. I feel so emotional now. Oh my goodness.
Yes. Yes.
What was that book you grabbed?
Wait, do you want to hear about my book that I'm sorry about the book or the thunderstorm?
Oh my gosh, the thunderstorms. No, the thunderstorms. Let's do the thunderstorms. You're right.
Okay. Put on your conspiracy caps, people. If you have a beverage, which I hope you do, please sip with me, as Jasmine's Garden says, sip. And we're drinking water like Auntie E, sip. There's strawberry chunks in here. Okay, hear me out. Hear me out. The government has been the white man. My mom listens to our podcast every week, and she told me I need to stop coming for the white man because the white man's gonna come for me. And I said, Mom, fuck that white man. And then she was also like, where's that check? You said you put a check in the mail. I was like, you weren't listening, Mom.
No, Mom, I almost put the check in the mail.
Almost did. Anyway, shout out to Weezy Latte. The government has been telling us things that are not true, or they'll give us half of the truth, right, for so long. So if somebody was being dishonest, we all know it's the government. What if, because we know that we have weather machines, what if since millennia, thunderstorms aren't actually thunderstorms? Because we have been having more thunderstorms lately, and a lot of people have been stating that they sound different, like it doesn't sound like regular thunder. The other night, I literally was scared. It was crazy thunder. The lightning was like strobe lights, like it was crazy. Excuse me. But it was also surprisingly calming, and I did a lot of shadow work. It's the beverage.
It's the beverage.
I did some shadow work in it, right? But then also I was on an edible, wasn't expecting the power to go out, and I was thriving. So then I started getting my conspiracy theory cap on. And there's also a hurricane that's coming, which is alarming because they said by the time it hits land or gets relatively close to land, it could be a category 3. It's alarming because we're only in May. Hurricane season starts in August. Like August, September.
No, it starts in the summertime.
August, September.
Like May, June.
No, ma'am.
This is very interesting.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Okay, for those of y'all who don't live in Texas, yes, hurricane season is a real thing here. We start getting real watery stuff like May, June.
We start in like May, June, but hurricane season is like July, August, September.
Okay.
I've always lived in hurricane.
You're right. No, you're right. It's not May or June. It's like July, August, September.
Yeah. Because I've always lived on the East Coast or somewhere that touches water. So like even in the East Coast, I lived in Maryland growing up. We have hurricane season, but our hurricane season, because we're not in the Gulf, the temperatures aren't changing as much. Hurricane season is more like September, October, November-ish maybe, but then we get into the snow, right? So what if since millennial, thunderstorms aren't actually thunderstorms, it's the government covering up aliens or extraterrestrials coming to Earth, and they cover it with clouds, and the thunder is them landing, or their planes, or the turbulence that they have coming into the atmosphere. However, Kristen, how do we have the rainforest, and how do we have all of the plants? We need plants to grow. How do we know? Again, there's a lot of places that are drought stricken, like Africa, where they say the first aliens landed on Anunnaki, right? What if we are, because we're fucked up, man. Like Americans, not Americans, just fucking humans. We're fucked up, right? Like, what if we push away like people, or the alien race that came to Africa first was like, oh, we don't fuck with y'all ghetto, we ain't coming back. And because they didn't come back, it did not allow the thunderstorm to happen. So that's why it's drought again. Like, this is a high thought, like this is a high conspiracy thought. This is, I have no evidence or anything supporting it besides my high thoughts. Right?
Wow.
That's it.
That's it. Crazy. What if?
Wow. And we've been having hella thunderstorms lately. They're all like, it's global warming. And I'm like, but what if, because they're telling us we're finally ascending, right? Because they're saying we're still ascending as a collective. That's why the weather is changing, because so many of the extraterrestrials are coming back. So we think we're going through global warming, but it's actually because there's so much extraterrestrial presence that it's fucking with our atmosphere.
Okay, I can get behind that, because so many people have been ascending, and collectively, like you said, we are ascending. What was it? The Grand Conjunction?
Mm-hmm.
I can see how you could think that. Like,
again, I have no evidence. These are just me and my edibles.
Just me and my edibles.
No evidence. This is me, my edibles, in a thunderstorm. Like, high thoughts, bro. High thoughts.
Wow. That is a wild thought. A wild thought. I just can't even yeah, it's kind of difficult to wrap my brain around right now, honestly.
But I mean, it's the same thing. And I'm like, yo, that could totally be a thing. Because also, like, think about like the fucking, like, I always knew that Thanksgiving was a sham, because my family is native to America. Like, y'all know, I have my blue card. It's a thing. I don't know why my people are the only people that have to prove their lineage by blood test, but we won't even get into that. That's for a whole nother episode. But like, I've always known that, like, nah, like, that was a massacre, bro. Like, we ain't doing Charlie Brown Thanksgiving over here. But like, for example, like, people were like today years old, like when the pandemic started, because people had time during the pandemic to do their researches. But like, people didn't know that it was the fucking massacre. Like, people did not know that. Like, they were like, no, like, they were chilling, eating food. Like,
people really didn't know what happened?
People really didn't know.
That's on whitewashing our freaking history books.
Also, I know, oh my gosh. Also, I just found out. I literally just found out, and then I got into a rabbit hole. William Shakespeare was Black.
Huh? I'm sorry.
William Shakespeare was Black. Somebody, like, there's so many records of him being like, he's Black. Like, it says Negro, or the hard R word, or colored. Like, he is Black in all of his descriptions and depictions. But remember, because they didn't have cameras, like, that's how they showed the different textures and stuff. But
they just painted him white?
They just painted him white. William Shakespeare was Black. I just found this out like at the beginning of this week, bro.
I have never heard this in my life.
And then I got into a rabbit hole. I got into a rabbit hole
This is
of
too much for
people
me.
in history who we were told are white or were white,
Or
but
we're
are
men also.
or
That's the
were
thing.
also men that were women that were actually black or women.
The woman one, I know. The black one, I had no idea.
Yeah. Yeah.
Wow.
He was the one that
I
shook me
need
the
to
most.
dive into this for sure.
Yeah. That's just also like I found out that Rosa Parks wasn't the one that was actually the first to not get up or sit down, like to do what she did. The boycott and the riot actually started with a teenaged girl,
Yeah.
but they didn't want to publicize it because she was unmarried in the 50s. She was a black or whatever this time was. Girl, you know I'm bad with timelines and geography because time ain't real. In that time, because it was frowned upon, she was a black unwed mother of one or two and was also pregnant.
Okay.
So they were like, we can't do that. So they literally staged and they're like, all right, Rosa, get on this bus, do this, do that. And I was like, wow. And we only know about Rosa Parks. Not saying that what she did or that moment wasn't profound and didn't mean anything or take anything to the next level, but they made it louder based on what had happened to somebody previously. But because she was unwed, had kids, and was pregnant, she went unheard of.
These societal standards, man, they get me. They are so upsetting. They are so demeaning.
For real.
She's topping off her pineapple for those of y'all listening.
You don't gotta tell them. If they're watching, they can know. If y'all are listening, you don't gotta know.
You can hear it. You just hear tinkle, tinkle, tinkle. Like it's someone peeing. Nope. She's just refilling the pineapple.
Just refilling the pineapple, you know. We out here doing hot girl shit.
Oh my gosh.
But girl, you have to rabbit hole about it. And I was just like, that's where I started. And like my wig literally came off. Like I had to take off, like, you know how I get when I start getting, you guys, when I start like rabbit holing, I get hot, I get sweaty, and then I get so anxious that I start to cry. It's not tears of fear, anger, or anything. It's tears of anxiety because I need more. Like people have seen it. They're like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Like I will literally
I start crying too. You know I do. You know
like,
I
oh
do.
my God. I don't know what it is. Like I can't explain it. Yeah.
Tears coming. Like what's happening, bro? I'm fine. There's just so much information going through me right now. Processing. Please just let me have my moment.
It's exactly what it is. And like I had to take off my wig and I was like, Shakespeare was black. That's just like Jack Daniels. I knew this one though, but Jack Daniels was actually not even made by Jack Daniels. His name got put on the bottle because the slave that he owned made the best whiskey in Tennessee, and he started selling it and made his slave continue to make it and give the recipe. However, his name was Uncle Nearest, Uncle Nathan, and you know, it's a secret recipe, but he left out one secret. So now Uncle Nearest, actually I think it's his great granddaughter or something. I could totally be wrong. Y'all know I read so much shit and it be getting mixed up sometimes. But his great granddaughter now manufactures it because they finally got out of
They found the one secret ingredient that was missing. He's like, I'm not giving up my secret. Y'all aren't going to know how I make this amazing whiskey.
And so many people are like, this whiskey is 10 times better than Jack Daniels. And it's because it was missing that one ingredient. Uncle Nearest.
I don't
And
drink
it's super hard to find. Like,
I don't know
I
why
was
I'm like,
going,
oh, I'm gonna go out and get this alcohol.
it's
I'm
called
not.
like Uncle Nearest. I was trying to get my brother one for his birthday, but it was sold out. Because it's single batch. Like, she makes it single batch.
Oh, I want to get some of this Uncle Nearest.
Hmm. You also asked about this book that I went
Oh
and
yeah, the black book, and then I saw you
to
get
dig
you.
out. I've recently purchased this. If you add this to your Amazon wish list, I will buy it for you. I'm on page 7 and I had to stop because wow. It's a book by Lisa Lister. I hope I'm saying it right. And it's called Witch, Unleashed, Untamed, and Unapologetic. The first page, it says praise the witch.
Ooh.
This book is, I'm on page 7. But I think what really threw me and what really has me going is the introduction, because it got me revved up. Is the introduction and then what this book is about. And then it starts chapter 1 called Wake the Witches. And I made it to page 7.
Wake the Witches.
Wake the Witches.
Ooh.
So the first page after table of content says, now is the time. This is the hour. Ours is the magic. Ours is the power. I bookmarked. So I was like, I need to read this on the podcast as soon as possible. I bookmarked. I put my donut bookmark in it. So y'all know it's real. If you know, you know. If you get a donut bookmark in my book, it's fucking real. May I read this for you? It's a little bit lengthy.
Okay.
But I stopped. I read it 3 times. I even called one of my friends and was like, bitch, let me read you something. She was like, oh. So this is in the introduction part, and it's called The Witch is Waking. The witch represents the part of each of us that has been censored, ignored, punished, and demonized. It's a part that wants no needs to be accessed and fully expressed. I regularly get asked, what do you think women are fearful of to speak out, to be heard, or to fully express themselves? Why does this happen? My answer, it's because we're fearful of the witch inside of each and every one of us. The witch is a woman fully in her power. She's in touch with the dark. She knows how to be the witness, how to let things go, and how to feel her own console. Most importantly, though, she questions everything. She's connected, pussy to the earth. She hears the whispers of those who have gone before her, and she feels the ancient secrets that are in her bones. She is the one who knows without fail that there is more to life than actually what meets the eye. She causes hierarchical power structures to shake in her wake. She knows that at any given moment, she can be a hot mess, a woman of grace and beauty, anger and grief-stricken, loved and pleasure-sated, tired, soft, raw, and vulnerable. She knows that in some moments, she can be all at once, and that's what makes her powerful.
Wow.
Put this book, oh my god.
Oh, wow. That was amazing.
Add it to your wish list. This book is so good. I'm on page 7. I started it last night because I keep stopping and going back and rereading because it's so raw and she's being so honest. The next section is called She's Whole.
Wow. Wow. I love that. Oh my gosh. Wow. Wow. Wow.
Right? Like I had to stop, and like I stopped and I was like, wait, turned off the music. I was like, all right. I drank some water and then I read it again. And then I was like, wait. Then I read it 3 times. And then the third time I read it out loud. And I was like, my goosebumps were on 10. And I was like,
I had goosebumps the whole time you're reading it.
I was like, wow.
Wow.
And that section, this is about the introduction. That section was called The Witch is Waking.
And that does sound like a witch who has been awakened. Awake. English. That sounds like an awakened witch. That sounds like an awakened witch. Definitely. Wow. That's amazing.
So then, you know me. I was like, holy shit. Cause like I've had this book for a while and I told myself I need to stop getting and adding books to my wish list for people to get for me, because there's so many that I thought that I needed right now in that moment that I got that I hadn't touched. I hadn't touched this book since I got it. One of our close friends got it, or one of our dearest friends got it for us. Emily, shout out. And then I was like, let me look, like, what is this next full moon coming about? I know that this last new moon was about abundance. It was a new moon in Taurus. And I was like, well, let me do some research about the full moon.
Ooh.
Nature is in full swing, creating beauty around us. During this full moon, wildflowers such as indigo, bluebell, sundrops, lupines, and violets are abundantly in blossom in the northern hemisphere. The flower moon brings us energy of fertility, but it also provides us with energy of rest, recharge, relax, and empowerment. This is the perfect full moon to gain and understand your power as you recharge your entire being. Wow. And I was like, oh, bitch. Like, oh, okay, universe, I hear you.
And isn't it a super moon?
It's a super moon.
A lunar eclipse.
And a lunar eclipse. I'm telling anybody that I can get a hold of that, and I'm like, yo, put this on your wish list. You need to read it before the end of the new full moon, by the full moon. Like, you need to read it, because I was like, bro. And then I was like, I'm too high for this. And then I went to sleep.
Too high for
this. And then I went to sleep.
Yeah, that book sounds amazing. Wow. That's still in the introduction. That's what's blowing my mind. That's just,
let me remind you. Wait, let me go back. Let me tell you. This is literally the second page of the introduction. This is the introduction. If you guys are watching, donut, second page. Like, bitch, I barely flipped the page.
Donut.
And she calls your intuition of your curiosity the call. And she keeps calling it the call. She was like, you've had the call. Why do you think that you're...
the call my entire life?
And I was like, the call's been in my life.
I question everything. I have the call.
And that's what really grabbed me. The first paragraph is, women are living in interesting times. Society and nature and the way that we interact with each other are all about to change. There's a quickening, and many of us, more than even before, that are hearing the call. I speak about the call in my last book. The call is from she, the divine feminine, the call to rise, full rooted, and to tell the truths of who we are, the call that asks us to trust ourselves.
Wow.
And then she goes, yeah, that call. And I was like, oh, bitch. Literally, like, I love how she writes.
That call.
She was like, yeah, that call. Like, that is in all caps. And I'm like, oh, bitch. Back to the pineapple.
Yeah. Wow.
I will get this for you. If you add it to your wish list, I will get it.
Okay.
I like this book. I'm like 20 pages in, maybe, because the introduction I think is like 15 pages or so, and I'm on page 7. Like,
the call.
The call. The call. Oh, I wanted to add something. Well, I guess I want to ask something. You are a tarot reader. We are both tarot readers. If this is your guys' first time listening, we're tarot readers. You know, we also do some other stuff on the side, but you know, if you know, you know. Somebody asked me, and I want your opinion. Why do you think it's necessary, or why do you think it's a practice that a lot of us have when it comes to our tarot cards calling us or getting them in divine timing? Like, somebody was like, well, I'm pretty sure you have enough money to buy all of the decks that you want. And I was like, well, that's not how it works, babe. So what is your opinion when it comes to the selection of decks, oracle, tarot cards?
I always just feel, personally, this is my experience, I, like you said, like I feel called to them, like they speak to me. I'll look at the artwork and I'll just know that that deck needs to be with my other decks. And maybe maybe I have a few decks, you know. Maybe I already have a few. But sometimes you just need to have, they all have their own personalities, man. That's what kind of what it comes down to. Some decks are like good at reading one type of a situation versus another type of situation, like a personality type. I have decks that are called to like reserved people, or decks that are called to like flamboyant people. It just, I think they all come to us when they need to come to us. Um, that's pretty much it. I just, yeah, they come when they're needed.
So if you just got a plethora of money, as we know, money isn't real, but let's say you got a plethora of money, what is better question, I guess, what is holding you back from going and spending a plethora of money on all of the decks that you want?
It's like I said, they'll come to me when I need them. That's, and maybe in that moment I don't need all of those decks. Maybe in that moment there's one that's calling to me, or maybe there's 3 that's calling to me, or maybe there's not a single deck in that moment that is calling to me. It really depends on the energy and where the energy is being directed, how the energy of the decks that I have and use are being worked with. If everything feels balanced at that moment, I'm not going to need a new deck. But if there's something out of balance where I'm like, I've been noticing an influx of people like this that I'm reading for that have like, there's just something's missing here. That's when I'm going to like go and try to get a new deck, because something's off, something's not right. The energy, there's something lacking here in my collection that I need to, you know, acquire
For
to
the
work
wholeness.
towards that. Yeah, so it just depends on the energy. Sometimes it's good, other times it's like something's lacking, but you know, it's energy for me personally.
Okay. So yeah, same page for me. I think for me, I have a lot though.
I mean,
I have a
I
lot.
think sometimes I'm like, dang, I have so many decks, and then I think of like how many decks you have.
I have a lot. And people ask me, well, why do you have so many then? For me, again, like I work with so many different people, and I agree with you. Like I have decks that go with certain energies,
Mhm.
that will read for certain energies, or that will give the bad news so politely that I can read it politely, or whatever. Like, each one of my decks has a different personality. Some of them are hers, some of them are his, some of them are they's. So for me, it just depends. But I also have so many, and this is what I was trying to explain to the person, and I hope they listen to this. I have so many, and people that have a lot typically help a lot of different energies or work with a lot of different energies. If you're only reading for you and your friends, like, you shouldn't have 18 tarot decks. Can you? Yeah, sure. But like, if you're just out here for the aesthetic of it, like, no. Like, even you guys, like, I have you guys even but there's decks even that I don't use all of the time. Like my elemental tarot deck, I never used it because I got that deck based on the artwork, and I was so fixated on the artwork that I didn't necessarily want to share what message he had to give. And then the other day I was literally sitting here, and you guys, he was fucking hollering. And he was like, why the fuck aren't you using me? I am gorgeous for a reason. And then I was like, bro, I can't read you. Like, your shit is different. And then I started going through him, and because like I couldn't tell the difference between the page, the knight, the king, and the queen. And he was like, nah, bitch, look, the page is the little crown. The knights, they all got this fucking shit on the head. The queen is feminine and the king is masculine. Like, look at the pictures. Like, use me because that's what you got me for. And I can't stop using it now. Like, I love working with this deck because the way that he puts the message out there, it's aggressively soft.
Aggressively soft.
It's like, he's like the puppy that will eat your shoes, but then will give you the puppy dog eyes. And I can't stop using him. He's a he. He is a he. He's right here. Like, he is a he. And I can't stop using him. And I love the energy. But I feel like if I wasn't where I am mentally and spiritually, like if I hadn't done certain things to make sure that I was good spiritually, I don't think I would have ever been able to use him. Mm-hmm. So I think that's another thing. And that's what I was also explaining to her. I was like, I bought this deck because I simply liked the artwork. It didn't necessarily call to me. I bought it because of the artwork, and it literally sat unused for 7 or 8 months. And I would literally just be like, look, this is my favorite artwork deck. Like, here's this one, but I would never use it.
Never used it.
Never.
Do you remember my Crow Tarot deck?
Yes, I love that one. That one's
and I remember telling you, like, the energy's not right. And I was like, I don't know what to do. I've cleansed it multiple times, multiple ways. And I couldn't, for whatever reason, anytime I used it, I couldn't give a message. And I remember I talked to you about this, and you were like, well, try cleansing it, with this full moon or new moon or whatever it was. There's a moon that was happening. And I was like, okay, I tried it, it didn't work. And so I was like, I'm just going to put her away for a little bit. So I did. I put her away into a drawer, like not on my altar where all my other decks are. And I would think about that deck regularly, like, I see you in there. And every time I would like go and get something, I would see it in there, and I'd be like, what up? Forget about you. How's it going? Just chat, see you later. Close the drawer, move on. And then a few weeks ago, or like maybe a month and a half, I don't know, some time ago, not too long, it was so random. I was like cleaning something up, and out of nowhere, I'm like, I need this deck. I just, like, nothing on this earth could have stopped me. I needed to get that deck and cleanse it and read it. And I did, and the message just came out so clear. And I was like, wow, this is interesting. But it's just like you said, like, it's where I was, like, spiritually. at the time that I got it, and I wasn't ready for that deck for whatever reason. And then maybe like 5 or 6 months later, all of a sudden,
Mhm.
boom, come use me. And I love
Get
that
me
deck.
now. It's
Yeah,
like,
it's like she was yelling at me like, "Come get me. I must be used. I have a message.
yeah.
Please, I have a message."
And that's what I was trying to explain. I was like, if you, and I literally recently learned this like within this week, and I tell people this all the time, like when it comes to spirituality in your journey, you're constantly learning.
Mhm.
Like I'm very far from perfect, but because I have this platform, people think that this is a perfection of spirituality. And I'm like, if y'all, bitch, good luck.
Behind the scenes.
Good luck. Right. But I was telling them, like, if you get something that is not meant for you, you're not going to get what's meant for you from that thing.
Yeah, just
And
won't work.
I got that deck out of vanity because it was so cool and intricate, and I got lost. I literally would always say that I would get lost in the artwork. I couldn't read the message, and that's why I didn't use it. And I was literally sitting here answering emails, paying bills and shit. And I was like, bitch.
That's how it that's
I was
how it
like, mom.
happens. Mom, that's how it happens. You're just doing like an everyday task, and then all of a sudden, use me.
Yeah, it's like you
Crazy.
said, like a falling building could not stop me from getting this deck and like reading from it.
I needed to. Like, I get it. And it was crazy because I even remember when I had first gotten it, I would shuffle it and I didn't like the way it shuffled, just the way it felt in my hands. Like, shuffling wasn't right. And like the cards, I don't know. And I would get frustrated just shuffling it. How am I supposed to read a message if I can't even shuffle the deck? If I'm getting frustrated by shuffling it, pulled it out, shuffled it, shuffled like a dream, so smooth, and it was like everything just fell into place perfectly. And it was just like, you know, if you read cards when they need to be read and you just shuffle them, and it's just like perfection.
Literally.
Yeah,
Literally.
yeah,
I just
it different.
I like hearing other people's perspective, because we can get when it comes to spirituality, we can get stuck in our own ways of spirituality. And I did a guidance session, and they were like, I'm doing everything wrong because that's not what I'm seeing. And I'm like, that's where you fucked up, friend. How you practice spirituality isn't the same how I practice it in the form that we're doing it in our craft.
Mhm.
Like, if you want to be doing another kind of spiritual practice, then do that. There's no right or wrong way with spirituality, because it's what feels right and feels good to you.
Yeah, absolutely.
So do what you want, but you'll find the result. It might not be what you want to hear, but it's what you need to hear.
Mhm.
That's why I was asking. That's why I was asking.
That was a very good question. That was
Yeah.
I enjoyed it.
Yeah. I it's about energy,
Yeah.
and it's about the exchanges of, we're so used to having to exchange, or having to do this, or having to do that. Why can't we just fucking chill?
Dang.
Like, why can't we chill? Like, another thing. Oh, I'm about to go on a tangent. I'm about to go on a tangent. I'm about to go on a tangent. Another thing. I feel like I talked about this last week, but I don't give a fuck. Why the fuck do I have to pay to live here? If I want to drink from a pineapple, just because I want to drink from a pineapple, why is that so hard to do? Why would I be judged? If I was a regular ass bitch, or on a Thursday in the middle of the day when I'm supposed to be working, drinking alcohol from a pineapple, why would I be judged?
Drink your alcohol from your pineapple.
Like, why can't we? Oh, fucking, I hate this. I fucking hate Earth. We're so ghetto. We're so fucking ghetto.
Yeah.
Like, we are so ghetto. Like, oh, my strawberry. Like, it's so annoying. Like, it makes me so angry how ghetto we are.
Yeah, it really does. I don't understand it. I just want us to do better, to be better. I think steps are being made, you know.
This is my main concern. If we all have the common knowledge that we are raping our planet, why are we continuing to rape our planet? Like, that's what I don't get. Like, if all of us came to the consensus, yeah, we're raping our planet.
It's because
we need to stop using fossil fuel.
It's because
why can't we all just stop? Like, y'all just want to die. Y'all just want to fucking die.
It's because there are people who don't believe we are raping our planet, you know? People who don't believe in the science. It's right in front of them. They don't believe in it. They don't believe the data that's been taken for, you know, since like the 1800s. Literally, there's data from the 1800s that people have, and you can see the increase or decrease, however you can see the data. But they refuse to believe it. Like, why? That's the problem.
It's the white man. Honestly, I don't give a damn. Imagine Earth or life without a white man. I'll wait so everybody can enjoy this daydream. White cis male, excuse me.
Wow.
Another thing, this pineapple drink is starting to hit. But today they are in Congress talking about fucking making abortion legal after 6 weeks. Most women don't know that they're pregnant until 6 to 8 weeks.
I thought it was something about 15 weeks.
Girl, 15 weeks is like halfway through.
No.
No. Yeah, that's like halfway through almost. No. 39 weeks is full term.
Okay, yeah.
So 15 weeks is like halfway. But they're talking about they're talking about 6 to 8 weeks. After 6 weeks, they're trying to make it illegal for abortion, but a woman doesn't necessarily find out that she's pregnant from 6 to 8 weeks.
Yeah.
Because remember, we're like, oh shit, my period's late by like a week. That's 5 weeks right there when you realize that your period's late.
Yeah. Yeah. The way they count weeks in pregnancy is also weird. I'm not going to go into that right now because it blows my mind. But what's the thing about 15 weeks? There's something happening at 15 weeks. They're trying to criminalize it. That's what it is. They're trying to criminalize abortion, something around 15 weeks. And they're even trying to make it so that if a woman or a person who is carrying the child miscarries before the 15 weeks, they can freaking be prosecuted and sent to jail for something that happens.
That's the 15. I could almost snatch this wig off right now. That's the 15 weeks.
That's where I'm like,
that's the 15 weeks. The 15 weeks. If you have a miscarriage, whether it was your fault, I mean, I don't think
it's never a woman's fault.
It's never a woman's fault unless like you're punching yourself in your belly. Then you're a fucking evil, dumb human being that deserves to live in the deepest parts of hell. But like, that's another story. But if you miscarry over 15 weeks, they're trying to make it where you will get criminal charges, whether it's your fault or not.
I can't.
Your fault or not. I'm doing air quotes for those that are listening.
I can't. Wow. I don't understand why are they trying to control women's bodies? It makes no sense to me. I mean,
I
the
don't
logical
get it.
solution is to give all males a vasectomy once they reach a certain age, because those are reversible.
So there's two things that I've been hearing about. One, obviously, why do we think it's okay for men to control our uterus when they don't have one? And then like we keep seeing on TikTok and social media is the funny thing where like, oh, these are my period cramps, like these are normal, but then when we put them on a guy, they're like, oh my god, stop, right? Because they can't relate. Like that's one thing that's like they're distracting us from. But also another thing, if we're talking about the dollar bills, y'all, the reason why they're trying to do this, from my understanding of this article that I read, is because we as Gen Z, Zennial, Millennial are not procreating because of all of the fucked up shit and all of our traumas. So they're trying to pass this so we can procreate, because if the government doesn't have bodies to make money off of, then what's the point of them being there? So they're trying to make it illegal so we can continue to procreate, so they can continue to make their dollars. It's like the American dream was the best fucking what do you call it, advertisement. Get a job, I mean, do good in school, go to college, get a job, buy a house. All of this getting good, going to school, getting school financial student debt that we have to pay back to the government, because remember, we get government grants, find a job to pay then back the government to buy a house, who we give mortgages from the bank, who is what?
Owned by the government.
If we're not creating a next generation that will fully give them the revenue that they need, they have to do something. So people are saying that's why they're pushing so much for this abortion and giving these fines, because we are not procreating at the rate to make it sustainable, air quotes, to the American government.
I'm tired of it here. I'm tired of America. I need to go.
I hate it here, Grandpa.
I'm tired of this, Grandpa. I send me somewhere else. I'm ready to go away from America.
Honestly, I could totally live off the grid. Give me enough seeds, I'll grow them.
Yeah, you will.
Also, I found out if you lick your seeds, plants read DNA. If you lick your seeds of something that you plant, it will grow to give you the nutrients that you are missing, and grow to give you all of the things that you need or missing, lack of, less than, or that, because seeds read your DNA.
Wow.
I'm about to start licking all my plants.
Lick your plants. Your seeds, not your plants, your seeds.
I mean, my seeds. I'm about to start licking all my seeds.
Wow, I had no idea.
Yeah.
My allergies right now are starting to kick back in. So I think it's time.
I think it's time. I think it's fucking time. Did we mind our business this episode? Absolutely not. Do we ever? That was another thing. Somebody was like, but you never really mind your business on the podcast. And I was like, that's the fucking point, bro. Do we ever mind our business? No, I'm in everybody else's business, but I act like I'm in my own. That's the fucking point. We know all of the tea, but we mind our fucking business. All right.
Yeah.
So with that being said, if you're minding everybody else's business, who the fuck is minding yours?
I'm gonna mind my business.